Hi everyone. I really want to take a few minutes here and address, wow, all of you in this group. I've got people in this group who have been friends almost for life, family, people who just joined the group, people who have been on my mailing list for years, people who just completed our year-long Mastermind and Mentoring Group, and many of them have been to 4 retreats with me and just signed on for their 5th. Also, the new people that just came in and courageously completed the Radical Relationship Relief 8-week boot camp. Phenomenal what's happening in this community. It's just really important what we're doing here, and that's what I want to talk about. The community has grown by our mailing list by 5,000 people in this year alone, and it's just really important to note that what we're doing here is really changing lives. It's changing families. It's changing the planet. It's changing people's bodies and their minds and the patterns that have been with you for so long that you thought were stuck. The places where you're clueless in your relationships, in your marriage, and what's the fears and issues about your grown or growing children and aging parents, the anger and anxiety and alienation despite the fact that you've already been on the really long spiritual journey. That is the profile of the people in this community. And what's happening is phenomenal for those that really come in and get hold of these 6 keys to dependable peace and delightful connection, and partner with others to do these happiness hacks, to do the work on a deep level, to be part of the humor that we have, the connection, the ability to see through our thinking in a really dependable way, to know that whenever something is upsetting you, it's your work. The Radical Relationship Relief Group, everyone really quickly started to see, no, it's not the other person, it's not my situation. And yet also to see that in a way that you don't have to blame or beat yourself up, that you get to become the curious, compassionate caretaker of those littlest parts of you that honestly believe they're saving you with the doom and gloom thinking, and that really don't have any other choice but to act on that old, archaic, and often very faulty programming that kicks in. So it'll kick in. As one of the mastermind folks said to me recently, who just came through the year, she's like, it's not perfect. I'm never gonna have it where I'm not reactive. Or she struggles hugely with judgment and feeling alienated from others, or that they're letting her down or not doing their part. And yet she said, it is such a different world, because now she knows what to do with that. She knows how to turn it and find her own prescription for happiness and reconnect and see that there was never a problem to start with. And having done that together for a whole year, this is a group like none other that any of us have ever been part of, where that commitment to be within the structure of that group for the full year, to have the levels through the really deep work with me, through listening to each other, check in and share what we are, all our ahas and our challenges and questions, both in the online Zoom groups where we can see each other and in the written forums, as well as the partner work. So if you want to learn more about that and see if it's a good fit for you, I am not here to pressure anybody. I'm actually the gatekeeper of this group, and I don't invite everyone in, and that's partly why it became so good. I want to make sure if you're there, you're a good fit for that, and you're committed. And yet it's not the commitment where it feels overwhelming like the boot camp. It's called boot camp for a reason, because we stuff a lot into that short period of time, and people really got results, really got big changes, and yet it hasn't really stuck yet. And it was too much too fast in some ways, although it's not. It's kind of a myth if you think that you are going to be able to go back and rework those lessons, watch everything, go back over your worksheets. It'll help, But if you really want the kind of changes that you saw, you just hit the tip of the iceberg and scratch the surface with that group. And even with the Mastermind group, those that are continuing on are going into a group called Living and Loving Without Conditions, because so much of what's happened is they have learned to spot the conditions that separate them from themselves, from others, from life as it is, where our minds say, okay, this is how it needs to be in order for me to be happy. This is how it needs to be in order for me to stay connected to you. And to start to see that those are just arbitrary conditions based on old programming and have really nothing to do with the reality that is unfolding, or the loved one that is right in front of us that we have separated ourselves from by believing those conditions. So that next level with the Mastermind is called Living and Loving Without Conditions, walking your talk. And anyone who stops short of moving forward with that, well, people are saying, well, if this is working so well, why would I stop that? It's not just the individual work with me, although that's amazing, and it's not just the community, and it's not just the partner work, and it's all of the above. So I have, however, created some really great different levels than we had before. Before there was just the one whole enchilada of the group sessions, the sessions with me, the partner work, the Facebook group, and bonuses include a retreat and a VIP day. But it's changing now so that if you don't feel you can invest that amount of money, I have come up with some packages that have less time with me. For people that are continuing on, I definitely have lowered the price so that you're able to stay with this. I'm aware that it was a really big deep dive investment for that first year, and it paid off phenomenally. No one has regretted that expenditure. The changes were priceless. So I just wanted to invite anyone who doesn't know about this, didn't see it in emails, has missed all the things I've put out there in writing, to know that this has been enrollment week for a new mastermind group starting next week. And we've got quite a number of people in there, but it's also a small group. I cap it off at 12, and right now we're dividing the returners from the first year folks. Some of the first year folks are 6 months in, so you have more experienced people in that group too, and it's partly with the people that have just completed a year, but you also have teaching sessions on your own where I will take you at a much slower pace, 2 months each, through the 6 keys to dependable peace and delightful connection. And it's just going to be phenomenal, as it was last year. I trust that completely, and that whoever shows up there is going to be the right fit to make this group be exactly what it needs to be for the people in it and for yourselves. No matter where you're at, this is a practice, and if you don't keep yourself in that, it is like other addictions, the believing of our thinking, the not continuing to undo the programming that has gotten us in trouble and stolen our happiness and separated us from our loved ones and our bodies and this life. This is your life. This is your happiness. It's really something, feeling better is much easier and much quicker than you thought. And it's not what you've done before. I guarantee that. So I've got some time open, and I'm actually leaving the weekend open all the way through Monday. If you want to be in the group and be in on the poll, we're polling people about the absolute best time for the group to meet. We're really good at finding times that allow everybody to participate, and to have come through that entire year of meeting, in that case 3 times a month. We're going to have slightly longer meetings 2 times a month for the group, so that you have 2 times really open for partner work. And even though everyone tended to try to meet every week for partner work just because they loved it, it's not a requirement of that. In fact, none of it's required, and yet everyone showed up. Everyone came on those calls almost every single week, We hardly had anyone that was missing, and I've never been involved in an online group like that where people show up so faithfully, and not because they're required to, because they know they're going to get what they came for, because they're experiencing the shifts, because if they're getting in trouble and watching themselves backslide, they know that each time they show up, they get another bigger piece of peace and freedom, a bigger chunk of being able to let life support them just as it is. So if you click on the link about the Mastermind group, I will pin that to the top of the Happiness Hacks post that tells you more about the group. It also gives you a link to a calendar to book with me. If you don't see times that work for you, please go ahead and either email us or just pick up the phone and call. That's what I do right before. I'm not going to fill this group with a lot of people, but I want to be there for the people that are ready. Don't wait. So many people who come in later say, wow, why didn't I do this a long time ago? My only regret is that I didn't know this stuff earlier. So that's partly why I'm so passionate. So I look forward to talking with you. Feel free to literally pick up the phone and just call me out of the blue between now and Monday. And if I can't pick up, I'll get back to you and we'll find a time that works to not to pressure you, just to discern whether or not this is a good fit, or if you're ready to go ahead and get you signed on. There is an agreement that's part of the safety that's created. Everyone in there knows that everyone in there is investing time and money and has signed a year-long agreement, which makes a hugely safe container where we get in there and we go, okay, now we've got time. We're going to get through this stuff, and it works. Take care. Thanks. Bye.